Today, we're going to be chatting with Millie Holten. Now, Millie is a screenwriter, comedian, and illustrator, and the creator of the much beloved comic Longhead. She's going to be running an Intro to Comics workshop for us. The link to that is in the description, and it's also available at spaceandearth.co. For now, though, please sit back and enjoy the episode. The thing that's been on my mind the most to talk about is obviously...
Our boy.
Our boy. Our boy?
He's everyone's boy.
Oh, okay,
he's
go.
the people's boy. You're talking about Longhead.
I'm talking about Longhead.
Good,
I love
good.
Longhead.
Oh, thank you, Dan.
So much. And I always get disappointed when the pre-orders go up for the Longhead figurines.
Yeah.
And then I seem to see them the next day.
Yeah, well, you're on the mailing list, I've noticed. And yet, I know that you have an hour to get them usually. And yeah. What, you got a baby, you got a job, and I don't know what your excuse is.
Well,
You're not sitting by your laptop during a weekday when I release them.
Could you do a special release for people with babies and jobs?
You'd be the one person I know
Yeah.
as a child. So yeah, absolutely.
But those releases have been so much fun to see as well,
Oh,
and
thank
see
you.
you make them. How has it been, I guess, going from creating a character like that to then actually making figurines and then selling them?
I wanted to make the figurines like as a gag because it's so much work. Because when I first came up with the idea to do the figurines, I think I had 4 Longhead comics out, so there was no fan base. There was no one who was asking for them or anything like that. So it was more just like, wouldn't it be funny if I did a figurine for this character that only I care about? And they'll probably I'll make 10, I'll sell 3, and the rest will sit in my cupboard. And the first batch took 3 months to make, just because it's a process, Dan. You got to import the blisters, the front blisters from America. I had to 3D print the figurine. I had to hand paint the figurine, design the back, and I just thought it'd be so much easier than it really was.
Yeah. Sorry, wait. You've got imported blisters?
Yeah. Like the front plastic bit. They don't sell them individually in Australia. I had to get.
Oh, sorry. Okay, no, my bad. I was thinking you had blisters that you put on Longhead.
Oh no.
America is where they make the best ones. You've got to wait for those to come in.
It's a bit of industry slang in
Okay,
the figurine community. As a expert that I am now.
Yeah, I understand now.
Yeah. So it's a long joke that's gone a bit too far. Those things, and I love making them. They just take so long.
Yeah,
I break even on them. It's not even it's nice to do. It's nice to do though, just for a gag.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gone too far. No, seriously, I love those sort of things. I guess I was used to always growing up with friends at school and stuff, you'd put extra effort into something silly or stupid, and then you kind of get Chris, oh, you've got a lot of free time.
Yeah.
And that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But how much enjoyment that brings to people.
Oh,
The idea that people they've seen your comics, they've then gone, I want to own that. And then they've got that sitting in their house.
Yeah.
And every day they go past and see that, that will probably bring a little smile to their face.
That's very
I don't think that's going too far.
No, it's very nice. And it's really nice, when I see the orders come in, I would say 2/3 of them are people I don't know. So the fact that someone's gone out of their way, a stranger, to have this creature in their house, will put up a picture of the figurine so people know how absurd they are, and just have that sitting on a mantle somewhere is very, very funny.
Oh, definitely.
Makes it worth it.
And also when they don't even know what his deal is.
Yeah. Can you figure it out? I don't know.
I cannot figure it out. I've been trying to figure it out for so long.
Yeah.
I was hoping that maybe I'd get a scoop today.
What's wrong with that, man? No, he's just a vessel. I think I just drew him once of I need a loser to be the main character of this. What if he had a big head? And then he just became the protagonist of everything I did.
Yeah.
I got madness about this thing. I remember I was 4, and this is when I get very hyper focused, I would say, obsessed. It runs in my family of it can be a problem of just once I start something and once I get really into it, it's everything else goes blurry in my life, and it's all I can think about. So much the figurines. I got the madness for Longhead as a gag, and then it became very real. And once I was in bed with my partner, he was trying to get to sleep, and he had to ask Millie, can we stop talking about Longhead? What if he was on a roller coaster and his head got shot? It's absurd things. That's all I could think about. So, no, the fact that anyone else enjoys it is just a plus because I love it.
I love that so much. It's it's a couple's version of pillow talk. It's
exactly.
I've got some Longhead ideas.
Yeah, exactly. It's just if you went to the beach, what would that even be like?
Yeah.
And Matt is really good. He's really helpful and a very funny guy. So he really helps me on it, but he does have limits.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the obsession that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's so fun to hear that that idea just started with, in your words, perfect. It was just I just wanted to draw something, lose a character, give them a long head, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then working out where I went from there,
Yeah.
rather than like I guess sitting down and going, I need to create this character. I
Mm.
need to spend 3-6 months going back and forth, and the idea is not good enough,
Yeah,
or
get the
it's not
character
clever.
design. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's something I like. I'm glad you touched on that. It's something I absolutely like advocate for and like want to say to like anyone who like ever asks me about advice or anything like that. It's just get stuff out. It's like Brendan Wan said on the last thing which I watched. Just get it out. Don't overthink it and do it because you find it fun, not because it's gonna eventually lead somewhere like cool stuff's happening with Longhead, but it's if I'd started knowing that, it wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
would have over engineered it, been like, who's gonna see this, all of this stuff, but it's because I think I had the madness for me, not for
Totally,
anyone else.
yeah.
And it tickled me
Yeah.
that I've been able to do it for so long, 6 months, but like do it to the extent that I've done it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point you made, like doing it because you find it fun.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think when you're creating things, that's really, really important. Like,
Mm.
I totally get the idea that if you're starting some business, trying to do some product, and
Yeah.
like you might want to see if there's really a need for that in the market or if there's a desire for it first.
Yeah.
But with something like this, where you are like putting something creative out there,
Yeah.
it's so much fun, I think, seeing people just do something that they think is fun
Mm.
and then seeing other people latch onto that. Because
Yeah.
I feel like then the fuel that keeps that driving
Yeah.
just kind of keeps going a lot longer.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I say this a lot, like with my group I work with, Boo Big comedy trio. Like, for me, the decision to do anything is like on the fun and stress scale of like if it ever tips over to like a little bit stressful, I'm like I don't want to do it because everything I do and like it's based on am I gonna find this fun? And if I find it fun, I can work on it like a huge amount and I'll never get bored of it. I'll get obsessed with it. I'll love it. But if it's stressful, like that passion it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you go through a phase of finding, like, working on projects that became too stressful and then you sort of made that decision consciously? Or has that always
Yeah.
been something that you've just done?
I think it's just anything that I've done that has gone well. It started from that place of fun, and it's that's a really good question. Yeah, no, I think I don't really work on anything I don't really find fun is a thing, and I think that just happened organically. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and now things do come up where I have to ask that of like, is this going to be fun or stressful? And I have to ask myself that a fair amount of time when like things come up. Um, and I think sometimes you got to be a bit selfish with it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not being articulate with that answer. Maybe
No,
it's
that
really
no, it
good. Yeah,
definitely is.
yeah, it
No,
doesn't.
because I feel like maybe it's quite a few people go through a process of thinking
Mm.
that they have to, if they want to do something creative and make things, they just have to constantly suffer, and there's always going to be something at the end of the tunnel, and it's like
Yeah.
I'm doing this, I'm putting in the hard yards,
Yeah.
and it's not to say you don't need to put in hard work just because it's something creative,
Mhm.
but the idea that yeah, I think maybe it sometimes can take people a while to go, hey, I'm doing stuff that is way too stressful,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
I now just want to focus on this.
Yeah.
But I think it's just really nice to hear that that doesn't really seem to be a thing in your head where, you know, it's been like a long struggle for sort of 10 years of operating in this way and doing that.
No, I think I've just been lucky where like I don't know, creativity, well, you know, it's 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 not like you're not a surgeon, you're not a coal miner or anything, but it can be stressful at times.
Yeah.
So like the base thing that you're doing, you need to find fun in the first place. So I'm always baffled when people are like treat things as a stepping stone of like you said, like, oh, if I just do this web series and that'll lead to a TV series and then that TV series will lead to a Netflix. Or like you know how we know people who are just like seeing things as stepping stones to other
Totally.
things
Yeah.
and suffering through that. But I reckon the audience can sniff it. They can sniff it out like bloodhounds of like you don't find this, you're not if you're not into it, why would the audience be? And so everything that I've really enjoyed and I'm working on that is really fun. It like I'd never expected to go anywhere. You have to just enjoy doing it in the first place and it'll likely work out.
Yeah.
Maybe that's naive. Maybe
No,
that's
I don't
silly.
think. No, I don't think
know.
it is.
Yeah.
I think it's good. Because while we're in the long head universe,
Please.
because you've been doing a lot of Twitch streaming
Mm.
recently, which is going well.
Yeah, it's going pretty well. Yeah,
And
yeah.
that would be something that if you weren't like really, really into it,
Mm.
jumping on for a couple of hours a week to like draw long head and like interact with people,
Mm.
that would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
If that wasn't something that you just generally just brought you joy and that you'd be doing without streaming it to anyone.
Absolutely. It'd be nonsensical as well. And I think that I keep repeating myself, but that enthusiasm is very contagious. And you can, the audience can sniff it. I keep saying it. They can tell when, like, I think people feel in on the joke when they get razzed up about Longhead because I'm so razzed up about Longhead, you know?
Totally.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, I think as well, like when you have people that care about the stuff that they're making,
Mm,
like that definitely does resonate a lot more with the audience. Like it can
mm,
be so easy to sort of push things back and be
yeah.
like, oh, even if if it's something that you think's a little bit silly,
Mm,
you might be more likely to kind of protect yourself a bit and
yeah.
be like, oh, this is just something. Oh, nah, it's just something I'm doing.
Oh, yeah,
Whatever.
absolutely.
But to see like you be so passionate about drawing this dude with a long, like
Yeah.
it's so what would I say? Like I don't know if enchanting's the right word, but it's so um like magnetic. Like you just
Yeah,
keep want to watching. You want to keep watching Longhead, and you create Longhead.
that's nice.
And no, genuinely, like
Yeah.
it's something that I feel gets lost a lot
Oh, yeah,
in
yeah,
if you're protecting yourself too much
yeah.
against an idea going out there and thinking that people might turn around and go, "This idea is stupid. Why are you wasting time on it?"
Yeah, yeah. I think especially in, well, we both know the, like, comedy world fairly well. It's like how we know each other and where we're kind of ingratiated. I think there's a real, like, you want to seem cool, like like
Yeah,
people want to be like, is it like, especially with sketch and stuff? It's like, yeah, I put all this time and effort into a confess show, and then they get up there and just like, I don't even give a shit. It's like you do give a shit. Like, I promise you, you do give a
totally.
shit, and you're never fooling anyone about that. So yeah, I'm very, I try really hard, like, and
Yeah,
I'm very, like, open about that. Of like, um, yeah, like, I find it really fun, but once I clock something, it's like I'm gonna really, really try
yeah,
hard on this. Like, I'm not trying to be cool about it at all.
yeah,
It's not cool to not try,
yeah,
you know what I
definitely.
mean? Yeah.
And I think as well with what you said about getting up and doing things and being like, "Oh, I don't really
I don't
care."
give a shit.
I feel like
Yeah.
that can happen a lot with improv in certain
Oh my gosh.
ways
Yeah.
because that is
Yeah.
something where if you lean too much into the fact of like, "We can't prepare for this, we don't do this,"
Mm.
it's like, "Well, that's fine. I'm just gonna have a few drinks, get up there and whatever. I
Yeah.
don't
Whatever
give a shit
happens,
about it."
man. Yeah. Why would the audience care if you don't?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but seeing you care and like it always is gonna make someone more connected with it.
Absolutely. Even if you bomb, it's like at least you gave it a go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have there been any like longhead comics that you think have bombed?
um. Oh, I got one hate comment once, and I remember it. Someone just commented, "This is shit." I was like, "Fuck." No, I don't think. No, the internet's pretty, like,
Yeah.
fine with it. There's nothing controversial on there.
Didn't you put up something on TikTok that got taken down, or was that
Oh, that was just TOS because I drew Longhead's dick. So
okay? Gotcha.
that was it. Yeah. I'm gonna say something bold, which I might walk back because I don't have a spine.
Yeah.
So, I don't care about bombing. It's like a
Yeah.
thing. Have I told you about the Bucks party I did improv at once?
Absolutely not.
One, like, all right, it was character building. I'll try, like, keep it anonymous if I can. Um, Essentially, like, this improv group that I was a part of at the time. Someone adjacent to the community was getting married. Um, and and they, like, were vaguely in the improv space. And so the best man said, "Oh, because the bride is so into improv. What about for the Bucks party? We get an improv group in, and then the groom will, like, do an improv show with us. It'll be a bunch of fun." And so we hear that, we kind of vaguely know the person, and we're like, it's gonna be a bunch of nerds. You know how some Bucks parties are like paintball and, like, it's not like Crown or something.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
it's a type of dude that then it's like, it's gonna be pleasant and good. And so, like, we rock up to the venue, and
Yeah.
immediately it's a red flag. It's the cricket club at Melbourne Grammar.
Okay.
And like, I feel like this isn't the crowd of like fun-loving nerds. Get in there, and it's like, it's lads. It's lads. There's like, the groom's walking around in, like, a silk robe, like, dick
Oh,
almost out. Everyone's off their face, and we know, like, this is not the environment. They're gonna hate this. It went as well as you would expect. We were meant to be there for half an hour. Did it for 15 minutes. Heckled throughout. At one point, that one of the I guess groom's party, like, kind of nudges one of my team members, and there's, like, a human full-size condom, like, sitting on a chair in the middle of the table, and he's like, if you want to use that, go for it, like, in our set or something. Anyway, no one likes it, and I think, honestly, I don't care about bombing now because it's like, I've been through a Bucks party improv show at Melbourne Grammar in the cricket club. Like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like,
I felt my body like contort while you were
yeah,
saying.
yeah, the shit, and there was, like, me and, like, two other girls, and the stuff were being yelled. I'm like, yeah, if I
Wow.
could play to, like, a quiet crowd, was it that? No. Like,
Yeah.
it's totally fine. So I'm pretty like, it's like Teflon.
Yeah.
I've been through it.
That's great. Yeah, that does sound like a horrendous
It's the
experience.
worst. No, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Got $30 for it.
Yeah.
And we spent it on drinks straight afterwards. But no, I don't really care about bombing or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if you go through that experience of having something that bad, and this isn't to say people should go out and
Seek it.
to
Seek it. Find
Bucks
that
Party,
man.
put up ads.
Yeah. We'll do an improv show. We think for nerds, but no, it's for
Oh,
rowdy boys.
oh,
Yeah.
totally. But once you go through that, I think you do obviously then realize like, okay, if that's the worst thing, I'm still fine. Like
Yeah.
it's going to be okay from here.
Yeah.
Like when we went to Del Close Marathon in 2018,
Mm.
and we were on at the Magnet Theatre.
Mm.
And so for people who don't know, like the Magnet, it's a pretty well known theatre in the community there.
Yeah.
Not as like say famous as like UCB or something, but pretty not well known for like going to see good shows and that sort of thing. And there was this New York team that were on before us, and they were really like popular, and they were going in there like probably like 80 people, maybe watching, and they were killing it. And we're like, wow, great, hot crowd. It's going awesome.
They're gonna love us.
They love us so much.
Yeah.
And then we come out, and it was just a bunch of us, and some of us hadn't played together before, and it was just a combination of different things that the show was just very like disjointed, and I think as well, just I don't know, parts of like the Australian humor just fell flat.
Cultural differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like it resulted to one of the guys in our troop. We went to the window on the side, and he put his like hat on backwards, and he's just like, all right, how you going? Like it was real these panic moves of like, what do we do to sort of get out of this?
Yeah.
And then coming off of that, it was like, all right, that was probably the worst show I've ever been involved with.
Yeah.
But then you're like, but hang on, like that's fine.
Did I die? No.
No.
Like it does not matter. Does not matter at all. Yeah.
And I think it makes you remove the stakes from things that you do.
Yeah.
Because suddenly you're like, well, there's nothing. It's just a show while still giving it respect. It's like, who cares what happens with this?
Absolutely. Yeah. How do you feel about failing in general? Do you ever like not put work out because you're scared of how to go? Yeah.
I think when I started improv, that helped with that. Because all my sort of design work beforehand, I wouldn't say I was ever super, super like precious about putting stuff out, but I was definitely a perfectionist in how I'd hold back until it was like ready, or I'd spend too long getting something ready before pushing it out.
Yeah.
And then I think when I did improv, it sort of removed all that and just made me very, very comfortable with putting stuff out.
Yeah, for sure.
And just like, so now I feel like it's more fun to put something out and then actually kind of build it over time with the people who are consuming it or people who are taking part in it.
Yeah.
Rather than thinking here's this thing that I'm making that has to be perfect before anyone sees it. It's kind of like, if we can make this together, we're going to have something that I like making and producing and you like consuming or being a part of in whatever way that is.
Yeah, for sure. I think perfectionism and insecurity are like synonyms. Like I think they're one and the same, to be honest. Whenever like anyone's like, no, it's going to be just right, I'm like, it probably is really good. Like you're just being a bit of a baby. Like, but not in like a derogatory way. I'm just like, it's really good. Just put it out. Just put it out. Just get it out there. Yeah.
Put it out. Just see what happens.
Yeah. No one's going to hate it. Like no one cares. No one cares. They're going to enjoy free content, if anything. Like
totally.
Yeah, for sure.
And I heard something recently as well. It was like that, Beyonce can put out an album and people hate Beyonce more than anything. Right. And so if you've got like the biggest artist in the world, arguably, can create something where people either really love it, really hate it. Like, why should you be attached to like, if someone doesn't like something that you do? It
doesn't matter.
In that way.
Yeah. And hopefully the act of making it in itself is like fun enough where you don't care about the reaction anyway.
Yeah.
Like Longhead Madness.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care. I don't care.
No, that's good. That's
it's for me.
I like that. What you said there of it's like the act of making it, that's the fun bit.
Oh yeah.
Not the response.
Oh yeah.
So it's not that pat on the back that you get after you put something out, which is like, oh, that was well done.
Yeah.
And you're not living for those moments. You're just living for actually putting things out and creating them.
Yeah. And that also like the moment of like putting it out or getting up on stage or like whatever, like that's so small. Like that's what, 5 minutes, like, or if it's a show, like a comp show, like 50 minutes. If it's a post somewhere, it's 30 seconds and you might get a little bit of dopamine while those likes come on in, but that's always really nice. But like at least for a long head, like each of those are 6-8 hours to do. So like you'd hope I'd enjoy that more,
Yeah.
and I usually very much do. Giggling. So like it's never that much, but like I get a kick out of it. So yeah, it's so fleeting, the response, that you may as well enjoy the actual process
Yeah.
a lot more. Yeah.
How do you find working by yourself on things like that compared to, like we spoke about Big with Ella and
Yeah.
Maddie and creating things collaboratively?
Mm.
Like, do you work in different ways in those different scenarios, or is your approach sort of pretty consistent across it all?
That's a good question. I enjoy both a lot. There's pros and cons to both, right? Like, I think the stuff like with Big or any other collaborations I do, it ends up so different to how it would be just me, and usually like for the better, and that like everyone's adding their voice and their skills, and usually it's like quicker sometimes as well in terms of bouncing ideas off each other, and you get to like weirder places. But with working just by myself, like I said, it's that hyper focus thing, so I'm pretty impatient.
Yeah.
Like there's no need to schedule anyone else, or wait for a comedy festival to roll around, where that's finally when we get to show it off or anything. It's just like, oh, I have an idea, let's sit down, 6 hours later, done. Like it's really nice in that way to just have it be that quick, which is I think my favorite thing about doing things just me. But also, it's nice to talk to it's nice to talk to others, and I really like whenever like we write big stuff, or I work on a podcast with friend Haley Tanto or anything like that. It's just like it's fun. We're laughing the whole time. It's never like bad or anything. It's just different.
Yeah.
It still takes longer. Yeah.
Do you think because you've got something like Longhead where you can just drive the ship and just do whatever you want with it, that therefore it makes it easier in those other scenarios?
Oh, in terms of like
letting go of saying like, here's the direction I think it should go in.
Yeah.
I just guess I'm asking because I found personally, if I've got something that I'm in control of and I can just push whenever I'm ready and whenever I want to, then I'm not looking to get that same I keep saying creativity, but that same like creative itch scratched in every other thing that I'm doing.
For sure. I think like more like not that Longhead's like taken away. The fact that we're talking so much about Longhead is also making my year.
I love it so much.
I could talk about him for years, so I'm glad that we're doing this. As like a broad response to that, it's nice to have eggs in a lot of baskets, because then the pressure is off all of them.
Yeah.
Like if I stopped Longhead tomorrow, I've got like other things going on. If all of a sudden like I woke up and that man didn't tickle me, like not Matt, Longhead, then it's like it's that stress fun thing of like I can't do well when I'm stressed. I'm fickle. Like so it's nice to just jump to things when one gets a bit much. And so yeah, there's been like it's never that long, but like if I don't feel like drawing a comic, sometimes that'll go a few weeks, and yeah, cool, I'll just jump to another project. And yeah, and when that we're waiting on other people to like we're waiting for a confest to roll around or other people to get back to us. Oh, sick. Back to our boy Longhead. Like it's fair. Or like all the other stuff going on. Yeah, it's really nice to do that.
Do you feel that jumping around? Because often you get told like you've got to focus, you've got to niche on one thing, you got to focus down, you got to do all that. But do you feel that jumping around it makes you more? It gives you sort of more energy when you are going from different things, because you're not then doing one particular thing for too long that the fun gets removed from it. You then end up getting like a break to go and work on this, and then back to that, and
yeah, absolutely. And like all the skills are pretty interchangeable as well, and you get to upskill in a certain area until you get a bit burnt out and then jump to another thing. I think it's a really nice way to work. And also I think it's pretty impossible to work on one thing indefinitely, unless you're maybe writing a novel or something where it's that like extreme solo thing. But yeah, like there's always going to be breaks that you can't control, so you may as well like fill it with something else rather than like put your head down and try to push through it.
yeah
Yeah.
I feel it's just like this classic like business coaching mantra thing of you need one focus and you need that and that. But I do honestly think that if you are inclined to make things, you do need to have different things. Otherwise you just get too involved.
Oh yeah, or you put too much stakes in it and it becomes like, well, if this short film doesn't work out, I'm fucked.
Like, if Longhead doesn't pay off my mortgage,
yeah,
I'm in
exactly.
trouble.
Yeah, those figurines. If all the eggs were in one basket, like that'd be miserable. It'd be like I think I'd overthink everything. Well, knowing that there's other stuff that I can jump to, means that every decision matters less, and therefore it can just be led by joy and creativity and fun rather than stress, which
Yeah.
is the best.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
For Space and Earth, we have a Discord server, which is completely free to join. If you're not familiar with Discord, basically it's a place where you can have an online community and you can chat about things in various channels. So if you want to jump on there and talk about improv, talk about sketch, talk about stand-up comedy, talk about acting, talk about the latest TV show you've seen, you can do that in different channels. So we'd love to have you join that. The links are available at spaceandearth.co. And like I said, completely free to join. We'd love to see you there. I want to chat a bit more about Big, Big, Big.
Please.
So I loved Catching Jack
Thank you.
so much. I saw it a couple of times.
Oh, a
Yeah.
fan.
A fan, definitely a fan.
Not a friend, just a fan.
A friend as well.
That's nice.
Yeah. Friend and fan.
I was saying you're more a friend than a
Oh,
fan.
I think you said not a friend, a fan.
Not
I
a
was
friend. No, that's very kind. You are a friend.
I was like, which one's above in the hierarchy there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was really, really fun as well, seeing that you, Ella and Maddie, working with sort of another group in Space Force before,
Mm-hmm.
then dumbing down Big, 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 Catching Jack.
Mhm.
And then I remember that the first time that was about to go on for Comedy Festival, that was on the eve of like when the pandemic really kicked off, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And then it got pulled out from under us, which ended up being the best thing ever because we got to rewrite it. I would say it wasn't already that first Confest when we were initially going to put it on. I reckon it was 50% of like what it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, that gap was so good to tighten it, make
Yeah.
it watchable. Yeah, it was a blessing in disguise for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think when I saw the preview show of I guess that second iteration,
Mm.
and you're like, this is like a show. Like this is,
Yeah.
as in it's really, really clever, really fast,
thank you.
really witty, and it just ties together. And also, I love that like you see the three of you as performers really come out in it as well.
Yeah.
And it's just fun.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. No, I think what's really nice about Big 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 is like we all have different strengths, which is really good. And like I love Maddie and Ella as performers, and so my favorite part of the show is when I'm backstage. Like honestly,
Yeah.
there's like a little curtain that I hide in while like they have a scene together, and I just get to watch them for a little bit or hear them usually, because they're both so talented. So it's really nice to, like I said, have the different voices in there to round out my nonsense
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit. Yeah, for sure.
Are you planning to do more stage shows? I know you're working on a web series at the moment.
Yeah,
if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken.
Well, that's one of the things that just has to like simmer in the background because you can't knock on Screen Australia's door too often. They get upset. So yeah, that's like simmer in the background. We got to go for like another round of funding to actually film that. So yeah, working on that. But in terms of a stage show, no plans in the near future, just because we were writing the web series last year, and that took up most of the year. And also we have other stuff going on. Each of us are, quite different creatively, so it's good that we've got lots of other things. But maybe in the future, I don't know.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Hopefully next year. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But then if we get funding this year, we'll film. It's hard to know these things. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I do like though that as a group you do try different things.
Yeah.
So you've done stage shows, you've done Candyman podcast.
Yeah, scripted podcast. Yeah.
Was that really big in South Africa?
It was
Am I making
huge
that
in
up?
South
Is that
Africa.
huge in
Yeah.
South Africa?
Yeah. Well, at the start, that was its biggest country, and now it's even down to the rest of the world a little bit. But yeah, I remember we put the trailer up and we put the first episodes up, and for some reason, all the analytics were like South Africa,
South
like
Africa's
my
loving
friends
this.
across the sea. And it really resonates for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was absurd. Yeah. There's things you can't predict.
Yeah.
We didn't go in being like South Africans are going to go off.
We're going to target this market.
They're going to
yeah.
love it. Yeah. It was fun.
What was it like, I guess, creating that? I guess from the idea that it's quite fast paced
Yes.
and I guess quite absurd as
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, like, stylistically, I think it's quite different to Catching Jack.
Oh, yeah.
But what would you think about that?
Oh, my goodness. No, it's hard to, at least for me, to look at my own stuff and with any critical thought. Let me think. Stylistically, I mean, yeah, format-wise, it's chaotic for sure, but I think that is because of the format of scripted podcast. anything is possible. You can, bring in the ghost of Princess Diana pretty easily.
Yeah.
You can make an explosion happen with, no budget. You just put the sound effect in there. So just by that nature, anything was possible. So we just rammed everything in,
Yeah.
Whereas stage show, there's like wonderful joys of live performance, but also the limitations of, how much mess you can make.
Yeah, totally.
And that sort of a thing. So I think like the humor's pretty similar, but like in terms of pacing and characters, like it's different. I would definitely agree with that.
I guess, it was more a question around like, if that was a choice to really lean in to make something chaotic and really just like jam stuff in and just really see how far we can push it, versus like you said, the limitations that you might have around a stage show that you might not be able to go all like 100% in those sort of directions.
Yeah. I think like that choice. I won't speak for Maddie and Ella, but at least on my end, it's not intentional. It's more like what's this idea and what are we inspired by with this idea. Yeah. Is it? I think it's where let me re-articulate that. The Scripted Podcast was the first thing that we wrote together. So maybe it wasn't quite. It was all over the place a little bit. Not in a bad way, but just then we had a lot of ideas, and so we were just like chucking them all in. Whereas I think we were pretty with the stage show. We want it to feel satisfying and a bit more rounded out than that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't mean any of that in a bad way.
Oh no, I didn't think you did. I'll storm off.
Leave the room.
Yeah.
It was just it just to me struck it as it was just like we're very much going to have fun here, and we don't really care about like having to fit in like a box of what a normal podcast might look like. It's like let's just go with and really just go 1,000% into no, it's like and just really just like cool. Instead of going, this might not make so much sense. It's like let's add that chaos in.
Yeah.
And then push it and then see where that takes us.
We're also mid-lockdown writing that, so maybe that was addled minds trying to make sense of this crazy world. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I don't think there was that much thought going into it other than like let's just have fun. Yeah, it's like I said before. I think it's just being led by like what tickles us, or more so like what will tickle Maddie and Ella, and vice versa, rather than like getting strategic about it. Yeah.
Given that the three of you are all also previously improvisers or currently improvisers, I guess say previously because to my knowledge, Maddie is not really doing that much anymore, but you and Ella still are. Have you ever thought of performing in that realm?
Good question. I don't know. It's truly like not really come up. I think we really like with Big, we take a while to write stuff. Like with the Confest show that got cancelled, we ended up having about 2 years to write that. Web series that took about it's 5-8 minute episodes, but that took maybe 4 or 5 months. Like with breaks in between, but it took a little while. So I think we like the time on just for some reason, like with that combo of people, it's nice to have a good stretch of time to really flesh it out and not rush it. And improv's kind of the antithesis of that. So
The exact
I
opposite.
think I think we'd have fun with it, but I just don't think it'd be like it just hasn't come up, I think, for that reason. Yeah.
I guess actually, sorry, you've done that all before with Potter, haven't you?
Oh
We
yeah.
performed together.
Were you doing a leading question that I botched?
No. No, this wasn't supposed to be.
No.
We were in improvised
Yeah,
Potter.
yeah.
It just mid-question, I was like, oh, hang on.
Oh, true. Yeah. I mean, that yes. We didn't do it just us three, but we were in an ensemble of improvised Harry Potter, which is kind of how we like properly met. And it was good, but never us three. We haven't done.
So over time, you're doing like now less and less improv. But do you find now like does it feel like a better balance overall?
Yeah, for sure. So just for context for the listener, my like first comedy thing was improv at the Improv Conspiracy Theatre in Melbourne. I did improv in London a little bit before that, but probably kicked off here. And there was like a time kind of like 2 years in where I was like coaching a night a week, teaching a night a week, performing maybe 2 nights a week. So I was in it. I was really in it. And now I'm also I perform once a month with my beloved team, King George. And it's a good balance. I think lockdown really put into a lot of people's heads of like improv's fantastic for building comedic taste and sensibility and confidence, but it's pretty like there's nothing to show for it once you get off the stage, which is one of the beautiful things about it. But you enter lockdown without a folio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, oh, I know that just because of like literally hundreds of hours on stage and talking about comedy, like I have the skills to do things, but I don't have anything tangible that I can send anyone and be like, excuse me, look at this. Like, I promise you I can be funny. And so it was a bit of a kick up the bum to like, let's put some eggs in some other baskets.
Yeah.
Because SNL's not coming to TIC. They're not scouting from there.
Yeah. And I guess they're getting funding for things and that. It's like, it's very difficult to go, I've got this idea for this web series or this podcast I want funded.
Yeah.
I'm an improviser.
Trust me.
Just trust me.
Trust me. Yeah.
Come and see my show.
Come see and it might suck. That's the thing. It's like, even if you can perform for like 10 years and still do a stinker. Whereas like if I that was also one of the reasons I like Longhead is it's like a mini folio you can immediately go to, and you might not want to make a show with a man with a long head, but you can see that like my comedy style at least to be like, this is what she writes.
For some reason I just pictured like this really serious boardroom at like Screen Australia, ABC, whatever, and then it's just you standing up with giant long hair. This is all I will do. That's what I'm saying. I refuse to expand. Can
you
imagine one day there could be a Longhead TV series?
Maybe. Yeah.
I would watch that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
I'd help crowdfund it.
Maybe one day.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
When you first started doing improv, am I mistaken? At some stage on your website or blog, did you have like a spreadsheet of shows that you did?
Oh, God, fucking loser. Yeah.
No, is that right?
It was a personal one where I was just like keeping track of how many shows I was doing. I do have I love a spreadsheet. I'm a loser. Sue me then.
This isn't an inquisition. No, I love it. If this exists, then because I feel like that might have been maybe one of the first times I saw you perform at TIC or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, who's that? And then saw your website, and then there might have been a blog post or something.
Oh, yeah. I did used to like have a little blog, trying a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Where, I was like kind of tallying the amount of shows I did. Is the short answer. I think I stopped doing it because I felt lame. Or more just like I lost count and then lost interest. But I love it. I do love a little spreadsheet. Can I tell you about my movie club?
Yeah. Oh, please.
You please cut this if it's not really relevant. But there's two
it's
people.
Staying in unless you demand it to be cut.
Okay. There's two people from uni, my friends, Chris and Jim. And over lockdown we started a movie club, which is like the lamest organized fun you could like possibly have, where one of us brings a movie and then we don't watch it together, we watch it separately, and then we meet over Zoom, and then we have a list of questions that we go through. So it's like favorite scene, any rewrites, favorite actor, stinkiest actor. That's like worse, not physically stinkiest.
And these are the same questions for each movie.
Same questions. I think there's 12 in total, and then we have a spreadsheet where I keep a spreadsheet, but it's nice to have, where we put our score in, and there's like averages over genre. It's like a whole thing, and it's my favorite thing in the world. And I refuse to ever sometimes there'll be like clashes in my life where I can't do movie club, and I'll be like, I can't attend. I got my movie club. It's my favorite thing in the world. I love it so much.
With your spreadsheets and things, do you put extra effort into like coding various things to like work out?
Yeah.
Like, I assume they're not just basic spreadsheets to saying things. There's some stats which are being splitted out.
Yeah, there's some stats. It's like, I know like everyone's favorite genre. I know like I know if there's a female protagonist, for example, my score goes up just naturally. And I know, it's really fun. And then we'll do like an end of year awards. We've done I think 150 movies now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's really intense. It's like my favorite thing in the world. And it's one of those things where it's like, I keep saying it, but it's just for fun. But just by like talking about movies so much and so intensely, and we're having like a riot while we do it, just because we enjoy each other's company. But like, I'm sure our media literacy and writing is also improving just from getting so into the weeds with it all on such a stupidly structured basis all the time.
No, that's great. Having that structure around it, how do you feel about that? Because I get the spreadsheet thing too. Like, I like the spreadsheet things.
Thank you, Dan.
I feel you.
My people.
I like the spreadsheet things too, and I don't know if it's like an element of having just like some controlled thing where it's like, or if it's like living out some fantasy where you're a data scientist or something for like
whatever kid wants.
Well, something like that. But there is something nice about making a spreadsheet, especially if it's for something which is a little bit silly or lighthearted.
Yeah.
And you actually do get caught up in like really trying to make that as like in depth and as good as possible.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's like, and I think like, you know what? I'm gonna make a guess. I think you're quite the same, Dan. Just like from what I know of you, of like if you're gonna do something, do it all the way, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, don't just meet up sometimes for a movie club. Do it weekly. Get a spreadsheet. Do an award season.
Yeah.
Like there's something about just whole-assing something rather than half-assing something that is just like I don't think I can operate any other way. Like I think it's just hardwired into me to like a detriment when my partner says no more talking about long hair. But
Yeah.
it's just I get the sillies. I get sillies.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
feels. I don't know if it's also an element of bringing something real to what feels like a silly thing, like because
Mm,
you're like, if this was a big, huge, multinational production, brand, series,
mm.
podcast, whatever, they would have all this information there. So there might be
Yeah,
something just kind of
maybe.
fun about
It's
doing that
really
for things
fun.
as well.
And it's nice to look back and see of like, hey, remember when we watched, Spies in Disguise? And I gave it a 4. That was a fun week. Like, I don't it's really nice. But I think it's like with this room, like this might be getting a little meta, but like this could have just been 2 microphones on a table, but you're like, you got the lights, you got the you got a big light there, we got the matching chairs, like you're not half-assing it, like you're going full into it. And I think there's just something to be said for trying your best.
Yeah.
And people I think respect it, and they can sniff it out. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, huh. No, I definitely feel that that's the only way to do things, because I also think you give yourself respect for what you're doing too.
Yeah.
And if you constantly are like making up excuses as to why you shouldn't do something properly or why you shouldn't try and do something as well as you can,
Yeah.
you end up just constantly falling down and down and down
Mm.
and not caring. And suddenly you're like, well, I don't really care about this. And why have I stopped? Like, why am
Yeah.
I not doing these things? Like, I think
Yeah.
you can definitely go overboard.
Oh
And
yeah.
you get to a stage where it's like, oh, wow, what have I done here? This is massive overkill.
Yeah.
But I think it's striking up that balance.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. And I guess, still getting it to a point where it's good enough and then actually, recording the podcast or putting something out, or as opposed to like, oh, it has to be just right, like we talked about before. I guess there's a fine line there also.
Yeah.
Because you could have kept adding lights and never, and never, actually recorded this.
Yeah, people can't see there are 1,000 lights.
There's
in this
1,000
room.
lights. It's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're definitely right. Like, you could go, like, someone could look at this with a lighting background and go, I'd probably change that. Let's get that in, let's get that in, let's get that in. Let's spend another $5,000 on whatever,
Yeah.
getting all this stuff set up. But yeah, I think it is important to sort of realize where the point you should stop is
For sure.
before starting to make it and push it out
Yeah.
and do that. I think you can get caught in that emulation of what you see in the stuff that you consume.
Yeah.
And so you watch another podcast, like you see like Diary of a CEO, which we were talking about. And
Yeah.
it's like that office that they record in, like it's very like businessy, but it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Like
yeah.
it's so nice. I just want to just walk in there and just even walk around.
Yeah, yeah.
But you look at that and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to release a podcast until it can look exactly like that.
Yeah.
That would
yeah.
be taking it to such an extreme.
Yeah.
But I think making what efforts you can,
Yeah, yeah.
it comes off because you can be just honest and like everything doesn't always have to be bits. Like
Yeah. Oh,
you don't
yeah,
always have to make a
absolutely.
joke about how shit something is.
Yeah.
And,
Didn't
like-
even try, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
For sure. Yeah.
But you can easily be like, oh, look how crap this room is. Look, we've done. Oh, look, there's books everywhere. Oh, there's my clothes on the floor. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, how alternative is this?
Yeah.
But instead of just going like, no, I'm going to do the best I can.
Yeah.
To make it real, because then if I take it seriously, other people are going to take it seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think I'm going to guess that it's experience real. Like, so you can get to that point where it's like, I have the taste to know when I like something and that, pulling it off, but also the experience to know that it's never going to be as good as someone who's been doing it for 20 years or has
Yeah.
a crew of 100 people. So like, let's release it now. It's just like, it's like a tipping point, but it's nice that you're there and that I think
Yeah.
I'm there too. It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think, yeah, you look at the people who do have these big crews, who do
Yeah.
have these huge budgets,
Mm.
especially like video podcasts and stuff, or even web series and stuff now. Some people have extraordinary budgets to spend on all those sort of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it can be easy to look at that stuff and think that's who you're making it for,
Yeah.
when it never ever is.
Mm.
And you're not competing against them
Yeah.
either. And I think taking that approach
Yeah.
is such a rewarding thing, to be like, great, if we're not this podcast here is not trying to be Diary of a CEO. It's not trying
No.
to compete with that. It's not trying to do anything like that.
Mm.
It's trying to just connect to an audience that wants to watch it
Yeah.
and just give them something accessible. And we put effort into trying to make it look nice and sound nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And I'm sure, like, was it fun to like put all this stuff together?
it's definitely fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, it was definitely fun, and like drilling the walls. And I don't know how we're going to go when we move out here, but stuff to think
Do
of
it.
later.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think it can be very easy to get caught up with, and it can even happen on a more, I guess, a more basic level.
Yeah.
Like, you go to watch a show and you see someone perform, and you're like, oh wow, they're so great.
I could never do
I could never do that,
Yeah.
so I'm not even going to start.
Yeah.
Or you think, well, if I start, I don't want that person to see me perform
Yeah.
because they're probably going to judge me against the stuff that they're doing.
Yeah.
And I find that's never the case.
No. No one's thinking about you.
No.
No one cares. Yeah, no. Are you having fun doing it? Cool, do it more.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure.
So everyone's thinking about themselves if they're thinking of anything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that's something that really struck me with, again, and probably I got from improv too, that it was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, don't compare yourself, because you can go and do something that can then inspire someone else
Yeah.
to do something. And that's way more valuable than whatever thought you might have about, well, what if the best performer of all time saw me and they thought I was rubbish?
Yeah. And I would say, like, the people who we most respect and are most talented, have reached that point where they're aware of the growth that, people aren't great all the time. Like, they have that, what's the word? That macro view of, like, yeah, if I saw, like, I've seen people I really respect bomb, but they don't go down in my mind, like, talent wise. I'm just like, oh, they had a rough one. Like, it's this that thing of, like, with time you realize that, all comes out in the wash a little bit.
Totally.
For sure.
I think you're only going to, like, not look down on people, but you're only going to be a bit disappointed if you see someone not care.
Exactly. As long as you put in an effort.
If
Yeah.
you put an effort, that's it.
Yeah, that's true.
At the moment now, your improv, we haven't really spoken too much about King George.
Oh, okay.
But you,
Yeah.
no, but like
Yeah.
I'd say probably one of the most popular shows at the Improv Conspiracy at the moment.
Oh, I'm not aware of the ticket sales, to be. I don't really look at it.
Well, you're winning like Team of the Year and all that sort of stuff.
I
so-
suppose. Am I going to sound like a huge cut? No, it was. It's. I guess by that metric, yes. Yeah.
I don't mean to take awards like that seriously, but I just mean like in the
yeah.
sense that obviously you're doing a show monthly now.
Yeah, doing a show monthly. It's purely like my movie club. It's just people I really love. We just do it once a month, and there's no stakes on it. And I think that just like trust and fun just comes out to the audience, and it's really nice. I truly expect nothing from it. It's the best. So when you're like most popular show, I'm like, I don't know, maybe.
Well, I'm like, it's got to be one of.
It's perhaps. Yeah.
And I think you're all very experienced performers, and that is the only improv that you're doing regularly, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's gone to that place now where it's like, that's really fun.
Yeah.
I do it once a month. That gives me that little hit that I need.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
like it once was. Yeah. But no, I think like I think it's easy to like shit on improv, so I want to make sure I'm not doing that. Because all comedy's lame, like all just jesters looking for attention. So it's like it's not. But it's completely invaluable in building my confidence. Like before I did improv, like I was definitely a wallflower. Didn't really like. Now I feel like I can have a conversation with anyone and like come out not too embarrassed. You know what I mean? And that was not the case before, and it gave me the confidence to pursue creativity, and in terms of giving a structure for people to find their comedic voice, invaluable. And I think it's nice to, I'm still doing it occasionally, but to now take that skill in sketch and comics and any other creative stuff, like that is the foundation. Absolutely, I love it so much.
Yeah. And I think improv is so nice. Like, it is definitely this like art form that stands alone, but also it is nice to have that as a mix of everything else,
for sure,
rather than the be all and end all, like you alluded to, 5 nights a week.
Yeah,
I'm doing this class, I'm doing another class, and then I got to go see 2 shows, and then I got to go home and analyze all that, and then I got to go back and
getting caught up in it, and it's temporary. Like you don't have a follow afterwards or anything like that, but you have like friends that you make and collaborators that you have. Like I met you through improv, which is lovely, and I definitely found, because I did screenwriting as my degree, that I was like a faster writer because of it, and that I just wasn't judging it. And also, not that I wasn't judging it and it was shit, but it was more like I trusted my comedic skills more, so I could just get a joke, cool, on to the next one, and I could write much faster than other people who were over analyzing every line of dialogue, and it definitely helped with that 100%.
So would you say, is that a strength of yours in writing, that you think you could just go quickly and at least get stuff going? And
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think I'm maybe not. I think it's more like a confidence thing of like I'm confident in myself, therefore I'm not over analyzing everything, therefore it is quicker rather than just like quick full stop. Does that make
yeah,
sense? Yeah.
yeah,
And that's not to say that it's like um my writing's amazing from the first draft. I think I'm just more aware of like you have to get a first draft out to make it better. So I'm very willing to smash that out and then refine it over many weeks or months or something. So that first draft's usually pretty quick, yeah.
yeah,
I think I'm just very confident that I'll get there eventually. Yeah.
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 I think, and that's like seeing everything as part of a process, right? Like,
Exactly. Yeah. I don't mind. I don't mind presenting like nonsense to the first time because I know that it'll eventually be okay
yeah,
with time.
yeah,
With time.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess it kind of translates to everything. I'm just
Yeah.
seeing connections here that, like, even Longhead now, it's like you're streaming, creating
Yeah.
comics. So
Yeah.
it's not even just this comic, oh, I've got to finish it, put it out. It's I'm streaming the process
Yeah.
and not being afraid of that.
Yeah. Like I'm chatting like to the audience and the chatters there of like we're brainstorming together ideas. Like I'll sometimes put a placeholder joke in of like, oh, this one sucks, but we'll go back to it. Like I'm very okay with because I'm confident that I know the end product. It's not gonna be like A plus, but I know it's gonna be fine and I'm gonna really like it. That's all I care about. It's okay if it's a little bit shit for a while. I don't care
Yeah.
about if people see that bit because there's that trust there that like it'll be all right. Yeah.
The podcast that you're doing with Haley,
Mhm.
now that is that a funded podcast? Just the
It's got a 2023 Melbourne City Council Arts Grant, so
Cool,
funded
yeah.
in that sense. Yeah, it's not like Screenos, but yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, any
I suppose it is
funding for that is
funded.
great.
Yeah. No, so yeah, we got funding to make a Bible and write a pilot, and then the hope is that we then try and bring that to a larger entity once we get those done. Yeah.
Yeah. I find just the process around this stuff so interesting. And I think it's something that you don't really know much about until you're going through it,
Mm.
which is like a lot of things.
Yeah.
But it seems like this sort of elusive thing of like getting funding for something, doing this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now that you've got sort of funding for a couple of different things,
Mm.
I guess, how do you feel comfortable with that process of knowing how to navigate and knowing like how to pitch things that do then end up getting funded?
Yeah, I think like I'm still, I'll say, a bit of a novice when it comes to all those like agencies and everything. With the big funding, we got so much help from the production company that was helping us.
Yeah.
They kind of held our hand through it. But I think I'm better at like making Bibles, for example, making pitch decks. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's something I like try and get my friends to ask me to do. Like I'll do it for free. Like
Yeah.
get me in there. I love making a Bible. So I'm definitely like better at that now and better at clocking what's a good idea and what's a bad idea, and also just like applying for stuff and not caring if you get it or not. More just like once you apply once, you have all the documents to apply to a different grant with kind of the same stuff, and
Yeah.
knowing that you can just do that and it's not the end of the world if you get a no. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like it's an interesting thing which I think people could generally find a lot of use from.
Yeah.
Learning more about that process.
Yeah, for sure.
And just what's involved.
Yeah, making budgets and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and on that point, like there's so much that I think goes into like I'm making things, I'm making art, I'm doing this, I'm writing something, doing all that. But then there's obviously some element of a business side behind it, especially when funding comes in.
Yes. Yeah. Looking back on the last 40 minutes, I have said I have completely neglected like any. I've said like just have fun with it, man. Like, but there is like a vague, not strategy. Strategy makes it seem clinically and like sad, but like there is thought that goes into like what project I'll do next a little bit. Like with Longhead, like I do have Longhead Madness, but I did want a folio on my Instagram. And that just came from making like I wanted to make more comics and stumbled on Longhead. He's the funnest one to do. Let's go. Haley came to me with like a rough podcast idea. Okay, cool. If we're gonna do it, I need money to live, so let's go for the grant, and let's like refine it so it'll be good for a grant, that sort of a thing. So there is like little businessy decisions that go into things. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the web series that Big got funded for, we made sure to set it in one location because we knew that would be a smaller budget and therefore more likely to go funded. Little things like that of like still really liking the idea, but like trying to have a little bit of a strategy behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's something like I definitely like I definitely want us to run some workshops on that sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I feel like it is so valuable just to sort of see that some of that structure and some of that I guess process doesn't actually need to take away from the end result.
No.
It doesn't need to kill it all and take all the fun out of it,
Mm.
but it can actually just really help things get made, get put out, and get budgets for stuff, and just really help sort of drive things forward with at least some minor direction.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of that is knowing how, what am I trying to say here? I think a lot of the really talented people I know where they kind of stumble is finishing things. And so, like, knowing yourself and what you need to finish something or to get something out there, like, I think it's the most valuable thing you could possibly do before all of that business strategy stuff. Like, what's the thing that's going to actually get you to put something out there is some of that. An example of that being, like, if you're going to do a podcast, and that, or sometimes I run out of steam on something, make it just a 12 episode series, season 1 and done. So it's not like an inevitable thing that's going forever and ever and ever. Little things like that. Yeah. Or if you're gonna if you want, I want to write a graphic novel, write an issue first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just and see if you actually enjoy that before, be a little bit smart about attempting things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not really about putting in like an end point, but it's just, so it's almost like a marker to reach and then reassess.
Exactly, yeah.
From there.
Yeah, for sure. So with Twitch, I was just like, I'm going to do this for a month. And I said that the whole time and just see if I like it. And then I kept extending the months like a Netflix subscription of I think I'm going to keep going. Just knowing yourself a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice.
I think it's really smart.
Thank you.
No, it is, because it puts it just puts in I think goals sometimes can be a bit constrictive in a sense, because depending on how the goals are formed, it can be very easy to fall short of them based on a whole bunch of different reasons.
And then you're whipping yourself and you get down on yourself. Yeah.
But whereas when the goals are, I think, relatively short term, I love this thing of do this for a month, going from there.
Yeah.
I feel like if you're making goals that are longer than even a year or so, I feel like, are they really going to be that helpful?
Yeah.
Because so much can change in that time.
Yeah.
And so many things could happen that are out of your control.
Yeah.
Which, it might force you to pivot, and that's fine. But if you've just got these goals that you've been so drilled to, and every single day you're looking up and you're like, that's my goal, I'm doing that, I'm doing that, I'm doing that, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Something happens, you're like, I'm a failure.
Yeah, exactly.
This idea sucks. I'm nothing. I'm going to give up.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop. But having, I think, those shorter term, it's really aiming for growth instead of goals. And I think if you're aiming for that, I think that is such a healthier way to approach things.
Absolutely, yeah. And then the beautiful thing is once you finish one little thing, then you have all that knowledge from that to then pursue the next thing. So you can look back and firstly, did I enjoy doing that? Because if it was a slog, maybe I don't want to do that. Or for the next one, I'll do XYZ different rather than attempting a novel out the gate. Start with a short story. Yeah.
I guess it kind of reminds me of American TV shows versus a lot of British ones.
Why's that?
Well, they're just we're going to do a 6 episode series.
Yeah.
And then we'll see. Whereas Americans here's a pilot, and then suddenly they're committed to doing 10 seasons, or they're doing it until it is no longer fun for anyone.
Into the ground it goes. Yeah, for sure. When I did honours, we had to do a research paper. It was really an excuse to get the student allowance from Centrelink, and then and get a deadline for a script. But on top of writing a script, had to do a research paper, and my research paper was early installment weirdness, which is how so many sitcoms, when anyone recommends them to you, they say, "Oh, start at season 2." Season one sucks. So please start at season 2. It's really good. And why that is, and it's just because people have committed to a season of something rather than a short season, like you said, July, and so they're kind of figuring out what the show is as they're doing it, and it takes a little while for things to get off the ground.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a symptom of that as well. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm curious in that sense, as an audience member, if you're watching a show, if you've put in the hard yards through season 1, even if it gets really good season 2, do you then have more of a connection to the show by the time it gets to season 2?
You're good on them.
They got there. They've done that.
Yeah.
Whereas if someone maybe comes in at season 2, I guess it could still be good, but it's just going to be a slightly different experience.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Then again, it's I think 30 Rock is a good example. I wouldn't say start at season 2, but episode 6 is where it kicks off for me.
Yeah.
In the first season, I think. But you got to watch the first to know Liz Lemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's tricky.
Do you watch Succession?
I don't. Is
Oh,
that's an
that's
example, right, of start of season 2?
Well,
I've had people say that to
for me,
me.
it was like around then, or even maybe 2/3 of the way through season 1.
Wow, okay.
But the first couple of episodes, we actually made the mistake, Maya and I, my wife, of we're like, we've heard about Succession, let's
Mm,
jump in.
mm.
And we watched what we didn't realize at the time was episode 1 of season 2.
Right.
And watching it, we're like, there's a lot of stuff which is implied in
Yeah,
this show.
yeah. Really
Like,
cerebral.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're having to do a lot of brain work here
Yeah.
to really join the dots.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the brilliance of it.
Yeah.
And then afterwards we saw it's like, that's episode 1, season 2. And we're like,
Yeah. Right.
okay. So anyway, Maya went back,
Mm.
started watching it. For whatever reason, I didn't jump on straight away.
You were
And
confused.
I was confused.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
so confused. And I saw her watching a couple of episodes, and then it didn't seem that like appealing what I saw in the background. But then when I sat down to watch it,
Mm.
the first maybe 3 or 4 episodes, I was like, I really don't know how I feel about the show.
Yeah.
But then get to like 6, 7, 8 or something, I'm like, oh, this is my favorite show
Yeah.
by far.
Yeah. I must watch it.
No, it's totally.
I must.
I feel like it's one of those shows that it's like, it's so out there now that everyone is watching it that there's this kind of thing of like, I'll get to it eventually. It's
Yeah, yeah. In my time.
Yeah.
I'm busy.
It's also not something that I think people talk about as much as like when Game of Thrones was happening.
Oh
that was
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. You
you
had
were-
to keep up.
You were missing out on social interactions
Yeah.
if like if you hadn't seen that episode.
Yeah, yeah. Cultural moments
Yeah.
you're missing out on. But I don't feel that was Succession.
With Succession, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like, did you see when Logan told Connor to fuck off?
That was
wow.
crazy.
That was so intense.
Crazy. No, I'll get in my time, Dan. No, I'm getting prickly. No, I will with time. With time, I think I started like maybe an episode many years ago, and I just didn't catch me. And I'll go back. Everyone says.
I feel like me suggesting it's
You've ticked me off. No. I just all I can do is give you my word. That's all I can do.
I don't even need the word. It's
No,
fine. It's
I'll watch it. Yeah, no, I will.
This is where the storm out happens. I'm not watching Succession.
Yeah.
What are your favorite TV shows? Out of curiosity.
30 Rock.
30 Rock.
It's my lighthouse. It's like yeah. It's like it's perfect. It's perfect television. I love it so much. I'm sure there are others.
That's so fun. Do you rewatch?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
rewatch a little 30 Rock. I should get out my phone. I'm really bad at like thinking of what I'm watching on the spot. Favorite shows.
That's okay. It's just kind of like whatever's. I just find it interesting to see just what people are watching at that moment.
Yeah.
Like it is tough to go, what's your favorite show like ever?
Yeah.
But
30 Rock.
it's like
It's actually easy.
Yeah.
Well, rewatching Veep right now.
Mm-hmm.
Matt had never watched it, so he put on the pilot, and stunning. I think Julia Louis-Dreyfus, best comedic actor of our generation.
Oh,
Is that crazy?
I don't know. I haven't seen Veep.
I'm gonna hassle
see
you.
it. Don't worry, I'll see
Keep my word. Yeah, no, I think it's incredible. Yeah, she's fantastic. Yeah.
What's so incredible about the show?
I think
Like I've heard good things about it before. So
Yeah, I gotta sell it. I gotta
you're
pitch it.
not selling it to me. I'm just like I'm
Yeah.
just curious as to like what really stands out. About it.
Yeah, I think two main things. I think that the writing is like no line is wasted. It's pretty like they do a lot of shock laughs with like I can't believe she said that, but I'm underselling it. It's like very funny.
Yeah.
But like I think the writing is like incredibly smart and incredibly funny. But yeah, just like watching it for Julia Louis-Dreyfus is like alone a reason to do it, because I think it's easy to, when you're doing like comedic acting, not that I'm particularly an actor, but go big and think that's funny, but she rarely goes big. She'll go the subtle option of just like a subtle like widening of the eyes, and you're like, she's so angry but she can't show it in this moment, and everything is just like the smart choice and like the funniest choice possible is what she makes. And back to 30 Rock, in Tina Fey's Bossy Pants, biography, she's like, because I think she also sees herself as more of a writer than an actor, and she wrote that like whenever she would actors lose limit in 30 Rock, she'd just think, what would Julia Louis-Dreyfus do with this role?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I think she's the shooting star. She's the lighthouse. Everyone needs to watch Veep. It's good. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those shows you hear about. It's like it's one this, it's one that.
Oh
so-
yeah. What are you watching right now? Succession. Succession.
Succession.
Sure.
Either way, I feel it was very loaded.
Yeah. Which one?
Succession.
Huh? White Lotus season 2. I'll get
What's
to it.
that? Have you
I
watched
didn't
that?
watch it. Who dies? I don't know. I'm so antagonistic to
I
you.
know, this is like taking a turn.
Yeah. No, what are you watching? I'm being serious. What's one of your favorite shows?
Favorite shows? I think it does change a bit. White Lotus, we definitely enjoyed that. I really liked Dave.
Oh yeah, heard good things.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
We'll find one.
Fucking hell.
I think like in the last couple of years, I guess so many people who are interested in any sort of comedy, like I think you should leave.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
And what I found really interesting about that was that's probably the first sketch show that I've ever had conversations with I don't want to say non-comedy people, but like friends just outside of that realm have actually brought that show up, and they've been like, "Hey, we watched this," and that doesn't usually happen, I don't think, with sketch shows.
Yeah.
Or not so much.
For sure. Oh, that's so funny. He's so funny. Best comedic actor right now? No. Julie Louis-Dreyfus is. Yeah, no. It's a wonderful show. I think also The Rehearsal as well with. Stunning.
So Nathan Fielder is the perfect example of, I guess, someone that we're talking about in the sense of committing to something and just going so far with it.
Yeah.
So like even from Nathan For You, when that first started, like I was hooked pretty early, like within the first episode.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what is this? This is so funny.
Yeah.
And I think there's actually really good lessons in it for just performing and comedic characters in general.
Yeah.
That it's like he's so stubborn.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
It's so stubborn.
And it's that thing as well, he's not going bigger, He's staying the same.
Yeah.
He's neutral, if anything. He's a rock. And every choice he makes is hilarious. Yeah. No, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah. Wonderful. Do you write much?
No, not really.
No? Do you want to?
I've definitely written stuff in the past, but it's always been like if I'm taking a sketch class, I'll write a few sketches. And I've got some like notes folder or something which has like maybe like 50 sketch ideas.
50?
Well, yeah, like
oh my god.
There's no quality control on that folder there.
No, you're a genius.
Yeah, it could just be like dog eats pizza. Work out what happens next.
Oh my god. The next long head is like a dog eating a pizza. Thank you so much. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Lock it down.
Done. These are all trademarked.
Yeah.
No, but like I think it was maybe something that I've had some interest in doing it.
Yeah.
But I feel like I would have pushed it a bit further by now if it was more ingrained in me.
Yeah.
So I think I'd like to do some more at some stage.
Yeah.
But definitely through the film festival, Grow Fest that we're running, which we'll be doing again this year.
Oh, I was going to ask.
Bring it back.
Please do.
It's
Everyone's asking.
Yeah.
The people want it.
Well, one person.
Yeah.
When prompted.
I love growth. Yeah. No. It is wonderful.
I think that's where I definitely got enjoyment of like writing something, but also I guess it's a bit of an improv-y thought there too of writing something, just get it done, make it, do it in a day, screen it. Screen a film you've spent like 4 hours putting together or something, and having fun with that process. So I think that kind of ticked its box for me, and I probably went more into the improv path than I did in sort of the writing path overall.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess no point like if you're not interested in it, there's no point like forcing it. Like I said, but yeah, no, it's just interesting. So you did sketch at TIC?
I did sketch 1 and 2. I also did sketch 1 at Second City.
Oh yeah,
for just an intensive. I think week 1 was like improv and sketch, so you had to write like a sketch a day, and then you'd come, and that was actually pretty interesting to see because you basically would just write the first draft, and it could be as rough as anything.
Yeah,
and then you go there, you jump up, and then you would basically do the first read, and then you would improvise some changes to it.
Yeah, cool.
Which I thought that was really, really interesting to see. I quite like that approach to writing sketches.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I think when I was here and taught about sketch writing things, it was more just like go off, write this, we do a table read, and then that's where this finishes.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of like working off some loose ideas and then just like trying to improvise out some stuff and see what happens.
Yeah. I guess there you get some more like naturalistic stuff than like following the beats, some more creative choices.
Yeah.
But my first sketch was through Improv Conspiracy here. They're responsible for everything I do. Okay, it sounds. Oh no, for a huge part, absolutely. And I really liked it. Again, it was just like I wasn't writing sketch beforehand. I was doing screenwriting and improv, but it took someone like kind of holding my hand through the steps, and now I feel very comfortable in it and very confident in it. But I think those like institutions, while they have different, thought processes and ideas of how to go about things, are just like for giving somebody confidence who is,
Mm.
maybe a bit more introverted or like wallflowery by nature. Really, really fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think to me, maybe what I found with sketch writing is because I never ended up in a situation where I say found like someone to write with or
Yeah.
like someone that I really clicked with in class of like, let's actually go off and try and write some stuff.
Yeah. Put
Maybe
on a
that's
confess
also where it
show
stopped.
and yeah, I getcha.
And this is just like circumstantial. It's not
Yeah.
anything beyond that. And I think maybe if I had have found someone who was in a similar situation wanting to write some more things, I could have possibly gone down that path a little bit further.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also then probably didn't put myself in those scenarios to really find someone to
Yeah.
write with.
Are you asking me?
Hey, let's cut this
Never
all.
too late. Let's do it. But I think with like long heads are sketches essentially. So like it's that thing of I wouldn't have done like, gone into comics if I hadn't, done sketch first and had those sensibilities. So there's a way to do it alone. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to tell you. You don't need anyone, Dan.
No, I need a friend.
No, I'll do it. Sure. You don't need anyone.
No, I totally agree. I think
Yeah.
it was more that I guess maybe the fact that improv was always going off and it was with
Yeah.
other people, and I really love that social element of it.
Yeah.
And I think in my design work, I've worked with like I've had business partners in small agencies and small teams and that sort of thing, but a lot of the freelance stuff is just being myself.
Yeah.
So I think that even if I'm doing some design work now and I'm freelancing and it's just me, it's like the idea that these other things have more people involved
Yeah.
and like the social element comes through in that. I think that I find really that's what really I find energizing.
Yeah.
About
That's
it.
very nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Are you an extrovert, would you say?
I think so, but
Yeah.
also sometimes I question how much I am.
Yeah.
Like as in I think as I've gotten older I realize that I do need some more downtime or time just to sort stuff out by myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rather than constantly pushing to be in those sort of social situations all the time.
Yeah. But it's interesting, that you say you're getting your energy from those social things. And like that's the motivator is very, very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Which is why I think as well, like, say if I wasn't performing or I, instead of say being at home and going, I'll sit down and write a sketch, like I want to be out there like coaching or teaching or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I find that a lot more appealing.
Interesting.
In that way.
Yeah, I'm the opposite.
The opposite?
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. Like I really, when I'm working with my friends and stuff, I really, really like it. But after, I've had two like a super busy weekend of, when you have like things like 12 till 12, both days. And, by the end of it, I was like, enough. Like, enough, get me out of here. And yeah, so it's just interesting how what it makes the world so colourful, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you agree, Dan?
I agree.
Yeah.
But I think it's like there's introverts, extroverts. I think there's this thought that maybe people who just want to perform are just extroverted, like they want to be in rooms and getting all the attention and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just really not correct in a lot of instances.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Especially like comedians. I think Kate McKinnon was on what's that Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee? You know that?
Yeah.
And she said a quote, which as soon as I heard, I was like, oh my God, Kate. Like, it's exactly of just like, 'cause most comedians just wish they could be like a brain in a jar and like not be seen or looked at or perceived anyway. I think, we know people and, like yourself who just like, do thrive off, attention or no, like social things. But I think there is also a huge amount who just like the fucking weirdos and just want to be left alone to an extent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it's like maybe everyone's sort of it's not just one or the other. It's very much like on the scale somewhere in between.
It's a bit grey.
Yeah. I thought I used to be right there, but I'm probably more around here. And yeah, I don't know. It's like sometimes creative making things and just trying to be creative in situations. Sometimes I think that it can feel very, very tiring and can feel quite draining. Other times it can feel like it actually gives you a lot more energy and doing that, especially if you're going on like if you get inspired about something and you've got an idea. I don't know if you have this, but it could be any time of the night or whatever. And you're like, all right, I know I should just go to sleep now.
But
I need to get this idea out of my head.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
And I can't just let it go.
Yeah, I would say that's me on everything. Like it's
Yeah.
like it's that fun thing of just that's where all of my creative juice comes from. It's that like, heart beating, getting razzed up about it. And luckily I have it for like a few things. So I can rely on it. But it's a case of yeah, no, it's just interesting that do you say you have that for like, is that a rare thing for you, or is that
No, that happens quite
yeah, that's good. That's
most
good.
nights.
Yeah.
There'll be something.
Your wife's like, come to bed, honey. Enough making the lights. Yeah.
No, the lights need to be tweaked more.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've always had trouble sleeping, like
Yeah.
since I can remember. So I go to bed quite late. But often it's just like my head just does not settle down.
Yeah.
And it's never really this like well, sometimes it could be a stressful thing depending on what's happening, but it's not a constant thing based on like anxiety or worrying about things like that. It's just that it gets to like the midnight hours, and then my brain starts going like, here's an idea, here's an idea, here's an
Yeah.
idea.
That's really nice. That's lovely. Yeah.
It's lovely, but not so much when you have a wife and a baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think that's the balance now of like, I'm really trying to push back against that, push back against the
baby.
the baby.
I hear you. Yeah.
Because the baby does not operate on that schedule.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that I've always found a bit of a challenge of like trying to maybe set up an environment where you can have more control over when you're sitting down to actually create and come up with things.
That's really healthy as well, rather than like relying on that getting razzed up about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally. And I feel like it's probably, it allows you to be a little bit more predictable in the sense that day to day, you'll be able to get something done on it, rather than like, well, brain's not firing right now.
Yeah, mate. Off I go.
Hang out till 2 a.m. and
Yeah.
then we'll get going.
I did notice a message from you at 3 a.m. this morning when
Sometimes
I got
it
up.
happens.
It's beautiful. I was like, what's on his mind? What's he messaging about? And it's like, yeah, I'll give you a lift. It's good to see.
It's
Yeah.
like my end of the day admin.
It's like 3 a.m.
It's 3 a.m.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
I
Yeah.
think it was also when I was working in design with other business partners and that. We always had like small teams, and we were always sort of extending beyond the people that we had. So there was so much as well where if I was doing a lot of like web design, web coding, or branding design, all that sort of stuff, that it would get to like the end of the day and it's like, oh, there's also this like the business admin side to take care of.
Yes.
So then it's like, all right, well, I can do that tonight when it's a bit more quiet and there's no distractions and everything. So I think it's just, conditioned for a number of years
Yeah.
of getting in that sort of habit. So it's
I
hard
know.
to break.
Yeah, you're trying to unlearn it
Trying to unlearn
for
it.
the bub.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
It's
They're
tricky.
selfish. They don't allow for these
So
things.
selfish.
Yeah.
That's right. Maybe my 18-month-old can be my writing partner. I've craved
Finally.
for so long.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to have a kid.
Yeah.
Collaborator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, big.
Yeah, you're out.
You're out, done.
A newborn's in. Yeah. It's great.
Thanks very much for listening. If you would like to keep up to date on future episodes, please consider subscribing. And for more information on what we're doing, our future workshops, and everything else we're up to, please head to spaceandearth.co.